All right, so today we're going to dive into one of the most important ideas in all of biology, the ecosystem. What exactly is it? How does it all work? And, why should you care? Let's get into it. So, to get our heads around this, I want to start with a little puzzle. It's a tale of two foxes, two relatives that couldn't be more different. Okay, on one hand, you've got the Arctic fox. This guy is a total pro at surviving in the freezing, snow-covered north. And on the other hand, the desert fox, who's perfectly happy in the blazing hot desert. They're both foxes, sure, but their worlds are polar opposites. And that, as we're about to see, has made all the difference in how they look. And that right there is the big question, isn't it? Why? Why would two animals from the same family tree end up looking so completely different from one another? Just hang on to that question. I promise you, by the time we're done here, you are going to know the answer. To solve our fox puzzle, we've got to zoom out. We need to look at the bigger picture, this incredible tangled web of life, and see how everything is connected, starting with just one single living thing. So how does this all stack up? Well, think of it like you're building with Legos. You start with just one block, right? That's an individual. Now, you put a bunch of those same blocks together in one spot, and boom, you've got a population. Then you start mixing in different kinds of blocks, all these different populations living side by side, and that gives you a community. But the real magic, the whole shebang, happens when that community starts interacting with everything around it. That is when you finally have an ecosystem. And that's the key idea right there. See, an ecosystem isn't just a list of the animals and plants. No way. It's the whole system, all the living things and their non-living surroundings, all caught up in this constant, dynamic dance where everything affects everything else. And you can break this whole system down into two main parts, which is super helpful. You've got the living stuff, which scientists call biotic factors, and you've got the non-living stuff, the abiotic factors. So on the living or biotic side, everyone's got a job to do. You've got the producers, like plants and algae. They're kind of like the chefs making their own food from scratch. Then you've got the consumers, basically all the animals who eat other organisms. And finally, you have the cleanup crew, the decomposers. We're talking fungi, bacteria that break everything down and recycle all those valuable nutrients. But here's the thing. All those living actors, they can't do their thing without a stage to perform on. And that stage is built out of all the non-living, abiotic stuff. We're talking about the absolute fundamentals here. Sunlight, temperature, water, the dirt under our feet, even the air we breathe. These are the rules of the game. And you better believe those rules are powerful. The non-living environment isn't just a passive backdrop. Oh no, it's actively shaping and molding every single living thing within it. It sets the challenges that life has to figure out how to beat. Okay, check this out. Let's just take one of those factors, sunlight. On land, seems pretty straightforward, right? But underwater, it's a whole different ballgame. Light really struggles to punch through deep water. And get this, not all light is the same when it comes to water. Red light, it gets absorbed almost immediately, right near the surface. Yellow light makes it down a little deeper, but it's that blue light. Blue light is like the long-distance swimmer of the group. It can reach way, way down into the depths. So what does life do in response? It adapts. It gets clever. The green algae who need that red light, they just hang out in the sunny shallows. Brown algae are found a bit deeper down. And the red algae, they've literally evolved to use that deep-diving blue light, letting them thrive in places no one else can. The environment set a rule, and life found a brilliant way to play by it. And this whole process, this thing where life comes up with genius solutions to environmental puzzles, that's called adaptation. It's the engine that drives evolution, creating all the incredible variety of life we see. And it's the key to solving our fox puzzle. So let's get back to our foxes. The big abiotic factor here, temperature. In the Arctic, the fox needs to hold on to every last bit of body heat. So what's the solution? A big, round, compact body, and teeny tiny ears to reduce the surface area where heat can escape. It's basically built like a living thermos. Now, the desert fox has the exact opposite problem. It's got to dump heat, and fast. Its solution? A small, skinny body, and these massive ears that act like giant radiators, cooling its blood as it flows through them. It's brilliant. And you see this principle absolutely everywhere. Trees that drop their leaves in the fall do it to save energy for the cold winter. Evergreens have tough, waxy leaves to protect them. Snakes and frogs, they just check out for the winter and hibernate. Every single one is just an elegant solution to the problem of temperature. And it's the same story with water. A cactus turned its leaves into spines to stop water from evaporating. Insects have that waxy waterproof shell to keep from drying out. And birds lay their eggs in a hard shell to protect the baby inside from dehydrating. Every one of these features is a direct answer to a question the non-living world asked. So, we've seen pretty clearly how the environment writes the rules for life. But here's where it gets really mind-blowing. It is not a one-way street. The conversation actually goes both ways. Life changes the environment right back. Okay, so we've got this part down. The abiotic world, the non-living stuff, sets the rules of the game. But, and this is the part that changes everything, the living things aren't just playing the game. They're actively changing the game board itself. They are engineers, constantly reshaping the world around them. I mean, just think about it for a second. Earthworms and moles, they're like tiny construction crews, digging tunnels that let air and water into the soil, making it healthier for everybody. Decomposers take dead leaves and turn them back into rich, fertile dirt. And maybe the biggest one of all, plants. Through photosynthesis, they have completely terraformed our planet, pumping the atmosphere full of the oxygen that you and I are breathing right now. So, if there is one thing you take away today, let it be this. An ecosystem isn't just a place with things in it. It's a living network. It's this delicate, active balance where the living and the non-living are locked in a constant, vital conversation. And that leaves us with one last really important thought. We've seen how it's all connected, right? The animals, the plants, the soil, the air, the water, it's all one big web. So what happens when you pull on just one of those threads? If a single species just disappears, how many of those other critical connections might break right along with it? It's something to think about. Thanks for joining me.